Valley Iron Pigs for a 6-game series, with first pitch starting at 7:05. It's 88 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Taylor and I are here. Mia will be headed this way shortly after catching up with Jaguars rookie wide receiver Joshua Cephus. But Taylor, it was your first day out. You picked a pretty good day to go considering the pads went on today.
Yes.
What'd you think?
Pads went on and it wasn't miserably hot. That was nice.
Not
I
at
was
all.
like fully prepping myself to just be dying, and I stepped out of the car and I'm like, oh wow, I picked the right day to be able to come out here. But yeah, obviously pads are good too once you start hearing those thuds. We talked about that yesterday, how it just makes it feel a little more real. You also feel like you can see certain things, especially when it comes in the trenches. So being able to see that up front, which I feel like has been a question, when you're coming off of a season where your offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL, those are the things that you really want to focus on. And I think that I think the defensive line as a whole was terrible last year, but there was a lot of injuries and there was not any interior pass rush. And so I think that both sides of the ball today, being able to see that and some of the improvements that I feel like I'm already seeing is positive.
Yeah, and of course, the biggest storyline has been the offense hasn't looked good and Trevor has struggled. And we kept saying, just wait until, the offense kind of clicks, or at least wait until a little bit farther into training camp and see if the offense clicks. I should say it like that. And today was a day where Trevor Lawrence was, I would say, 99.9% excellent.
Yeah.
There were a couple drops here and there, but for the most part, the receivers, the tight ends played better. And you could tell that the offense, we heard Christian Kirk say it yesterday, the offense was frustrated. I think even though you shouldn't worry about what fans say after 5 days of training camp, I do think they heard a little bit of the noise.
Oh,
and
for sure.
so they were ready to go out and show off their skills. And boy, did they today.
Yes, it was. And it was great to see. I think that even like you said, Christian Kirk had talked about how it's been frustrating. Even today, which to me, the offense looked good almost on all fronts, in my opinion. And there were, like you said, a few drops here and there. But for the most part, it felt like things... The connections that I had heard were not happening. Some of Mia mentioned after that first one when people were really critical of what Trevor was doing, and she was kind of talking, about the receiver side of things. Okay, well, the receivers haven't really been in the right spots, and the receivers were dropping some balls too. So it felt like there was a lot of disconnect in those first couple practices that people were being critical over the offense. And today, it looked like it slowed down for a lot of them. And that even the run game, I was focusing on the running backs a lot, and they looked like there was a lot of yards after contact. There was a lot of force, some missed tackles. They're not actually tackling, but in moments they were kind of getting out of situations that I feel like they would have just been, stopped behind a line of scrimmage last year. So that was fun to see too. I did even see on a good day of the offense, still some guys. I saw Evan Ingram get a little worked up at one point, coming off the field on one certain play. So that kind of shows where they are at. Like they are ready for this offense to start being the offense that we've talked about now for a year and a half.
Yeah, today was the day where the fans that got to go to the first padded practice were treated to Trevor Lawrence putting the ball in some really tight windows. And yes, his pass catching weapons, not just catching the ball, but they had created some separation. And so it was great to see. Obviously, we can't give you specific formations and where players are as far as lining up, but the guys that you would expect to be the keys to this offense, I think today they showed why.
Yeah.
You see a Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, a Brian Thomas Jr., and a Gabe Davis, even Devin Duvernay, who I think is having a really good camp. You see all of them make plays, and you think to yourself, okay, so that's what this offense can look like.
Yeah, and we broke down the few weeks ago what our depth chart looks like, or was it last week? I don't even know now. It's all running together. But we broke down what our depth chart we think it could look like. And so that's a fun part too, is kind of seeing who's on the field in certain situations. And there were definitely moments where I was like, okay, this is what I thought. That's not what I thought at all. So that's what's kind of fun about camp. And I know they're experimenting too. They're trying to figure out,
Sure.
you know, where each guy is going to fit best, especially when it comes to the secondary, because we've had so many conversations about how a lot of the secondary can play so many different places. And so where that kind of finalizes, it's going to be probably one of the more fun seasons in a while to see that first depth chart of what it actually looks like when it comes to the secondary, when it comes to the offensive line, and honestly the defensive line too, where exactly they have started. And I know we've talked about the linebackers too when it comes to Chad Muma and Amir Abdullah and some of these guys of where they are fitting.
Yeah.
Yasir, I always say that. Where they fit on where Ryan Nielsen sees them fitting best and where they're on that depth chart they're actually sitting when it comes to that first one.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Already Nielsen is tweaking things. And again, we haven't even seen them play a preseason game to this point, but we already know what he's at least tinkering with as far as linebackers and certainly secondary from going out there and seeing different guys. And like you said, you look at your 53-man projection from last Monday and you go, okay, I might need to edit this position group or edit that position group. To me, in the one-on-ones, they were doing both red zone, 7-on-7 red zone at one side of the field, closest to the fans at the Miller Electric Center, and then some one-on-ones as far as offensive line and defensive line down on the other side. And so I don't think the fans necessarily could get a good close look as Mia O'Brien has entered the studio and will join us momentarily. But I will say the two guys that really stood out to me on the defensive side are the ones that you'd expect, and that's Josh Hines-Allen and that's Trayvon Walker. They look almost unblockable. And
I
then
saw some really good stuff out of Devon Hamilton too.
Yeah, and Devon Hamilton, he usually wins those drills depending on who he's going up against. And then offensively, I thought Cam Robinson, yet again, looked really, really good in those individual drills. I say individual, like I said, one-on-one.
Yeah.
Mia, how are you?
I'm good. I just got done the best rookie interview I've ever done, and you guys are going to hear that shortly on Helmets and Heels, and that would be with the one, the only C4, Joshua Cephus. So, blew me away. Very excited to share that interview with you guys in just a little bit right here on Helmets and Heels.
Nice. All right, so what stood out to you today besides how good T-Law looked?
Yes, the running back play. I thought the running backs, all three of them, Keelan Robinson was held out today with that toe injury. I thought not just all three of them finding the end zone was a positive development, but it truly looked like when they saw daylight, there was no hesitation. Yep. And if anything, I think what's going to be fascinating to see, and of course part of this, in the words of Leon Searcy and Matt Hayes, is jag on jag, but in terms of hitting the edge, out racing players, Tank Bigsby, and I know this will, of course, there's people rolling their eyes in Duval as I say that, he is quite frankly just faster than 90% of the guys on the field. And you, of course, you're hearing that and you're like, he's a running back, he should be. But it just was showcased today. When he hits the edge, he's finding daylight and there's no hesitation. Perhaps as a rookie, there was a little bit more hesitation.
I mean, I said the same thing. The running backs really stood out to me today. And several moments from Tank Bigsby, I was like, okay, he looks quick.
Now you see what we've been talking about.
He looks like there were several moments, too, where you felt like the vision was there, which I know was something we kind of talked about lacking of last year, or maybe with ETN not quite having that in certain moments. And it looked like Tank was finding that. Like you said, there was open field and he was there. On one side, when you're on that sideline, which is where we're standing, his like tiptoe just down the sideline, speeding past everybody, really exciting to watch, honestly.
Yeah, and I thought Dearness Johnson, is somebody who we forget about, had a great touchdown in the receiving game right over the middle of the field. I think that it's going to be a roster that features 4 running backs, not just based on the virtue of Keelan Robinson being more of the special teams guy, 4-phase guy, as Heath Farwell noted over the weekend, but because I think you do need all 3 of those running backs, especially if you want to run the ball, that the Jaguars say they want to run the ball, which is at a far more efficient rate than in years past, and while also keeping guys fresh, because lest we forget, maybe it was because Tank Bigsby was in the doghouse. Maybe it was because both Dearness Johnson and Travis Etienne were banged up at times down the stretch last year. But you had to keep trotting those 2 out there. Yeah. And even then, I don't think, and again, I don't know the severity of either of the injuries both players were fighting throughout the course of the season, but it felt like it was just like, all right, we got to run the ball. Travis, go on out there, even if you're not at 100%. And of course, I'm sure he would tell you, if I'm able to play, I will play. But I think keeping those 3 guys fresh and truly having a stable should be an emphasis this year.
Yeah, Tank Bigsby definitely looks different from his rookie season. If I compare the way he looks now to a season ago, last year his body type to me was more Leonard Fournette. And now he looks like he's dropped a few pounds, he's leaner, and he is going to be able to be more agile, shiftier as a back. And look, that's great news, because if you can have a guy like him backing up ETN, when you get in the red zone, the team is not exactly going to know what you're going to do. They're not just going to go, okay, they're definitely running the ball because they've got that guy out there. And that's important. I do wonder if Bigsby ends up with more red zone touchdowns than ETN going into this season.
That may be our next bold prediction, Lauren. Besides Trayvon Walker having more sacks from Josh Hines Allen.
That's what I told Frank today. I was like, I think Bigsby will have more red zone touchdowns than ETN.
And I think that was the goal when they drafted him.
Right.
The goal was...
Yeah, because that's what he did at Auburn.
Right. He's a red zone, goal line running back. And while certainly he's not a bowling ball like a Jerome Bettis, right? He's not the bus. He's not this massive wide frame or even Derrick Henry for that matter, who's just pulverizing people. But there's wiggle and there is the size, even if it's not quite at that level, that says, hey, you know what? He can bulldoze his way into.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about that, just because that's when I was looking at actually some stats coming, it will be on my tangent later, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. But I was looking at some of the numbers of some of the things I noticed that they were really heavily working on today and connecting that to some things last year. But one of the things that popped out when I was looking at these numbers is when I was going through and kind of seeing the efficiency numbers, the EPA numbers for Trevor Lawrence in certain situations and Travis Etienne and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, all of these guys in certain situations. Only one running back even qualified for that EPA number because nobody had enough carries or touches, and that's a problem. You cannot put all of that on Travis Etienne again.
And that's where I call upon the 2020 season. Oh, no, she did it again. I call upon the 2020 season because James Robinson had 90% of the Jaguars' carries that season. And it was unsustainable then. It is unsustainable now. And that I understand is two very different skill sets between he and Travis Etienne, or if we're talking about Tank or Dearness as well. It's akin to what I've said time and time again about Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. I do not want to see them playing 85% of the snaps because that says to me, number one, there's no depth behind them. And number two, those two guys, I understand they are in elite physical condition. They are going to be dog-tired by the end of the game, week 14. That's simple.
And that's when we talk about the predictability in the red zone last year and how that affected them not being able to run the ball. But also when you have a running back who's completely gassed by the third quarter because he has the amount of touches that he had to have in the first quarters or the first half of last year, that is it is a major problem. And so I'm glad that now it seems like there's many choices and it's not just like Tank or nothing. It seems like some of these other guys too are going to be able to step up and be an actual part of the running back room that we've been wanting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Other things that stood out today, like I said, other than Trevor Lawrence, let's get to Trevor Lawrence. I told Taylor, this is obviously the best he's looked. We've all seen that because we've seen all the practices to this point, Mia. But today he looked like, I should say it like this. He looked more enthusiastic and more excited, Trevor did, than I've seen him to this point too.
X-Files music, please, RJ. I'm not a doctor. No, Trevor's not injured, folks. Don't panic. When he spoke to us last Wednesday, Lauren, at the podium, we go back, we roll the tape. Trevor noted he was congested, nasally. Could he have been feeling the effects of a last-second cold at the end of his offseason? Perhaps. There is a bug going around, per Doug Peterson. That's why Dewey Wingard and Josh Proctor missed time on Saturday. And I think Trevor's healthy. He doesn't have whatever that cough was, and now you're seeing him operating at peak efficiency. I do want to also call upon again from Christian Kirk yesterday when I asked him, does it feel like you're being held back solely because the coaches have said we want to work on short to intermediate routes? And he had this wry smile and was like, yes. And it is frustrating because they do want to launch it downfield. For those of you who are at practice last training camp, you probably remember day one, they're launching bombs downfield. They also were stretching as a team that opening period last year. They've changed that as well. And so I believe, and this is just from watching and from what we've heard from Christian Kirk, what we've heard from Press Taylor, that it sounds like that's by design. It's not a matter of, well, They can't. He can't throw the ball downfield. It's not that he can't throw the ball downfield. It's not that the receiver can't get down there. It's just what they're working on during practice.
All right, what else stood out to us from the first day in pads? We will continue the Jaguars conversation. And like Mia said, she caught up with Jaguars rookie wide receiver Josh Cephus. Best rookie interview ever. That's certainly setting a high bar, so we will get to that as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. If you drive over the speed limit by a little or a lot, you can hurt someone. Paid for by NHTSA. How much does Katie Ledecky dominate the 1,500 meters? She owns the 19 fastest times ever. She's won races by the full length of the pool, settled for about half the length in this morning's heat. She'll be an overwhelming favorite tomorrow. The U.S. hoping for some gold later today. Bobby Fink in the 800-meter freestyle. Reagan Smith in the 100-meter backstroke. Also tomorrow, second game for the men's basketball team. It's against surprising Sudan. Today, Canada beat Australia 92-83. R.J. Barrett scored 24. The Canadians are 2-0. Greece is 0-2. Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 27. But Greece fell to Spain 84-77. Right now, Victor Wembanyama and France leading Japan 49-44. 3x3 women's hoops. Germany upset the U.S. 17-13. With the Summer Games update, John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you.
Paid for by NHTSA.
At Lowe's, save big every day. Right now, get a free pneumatic nailer when you buy a pallet of Metabo HPT nails. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's business credit card. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store Lowe's.com/credit for details.
Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida is coming soon and now hiring for technicians, sales, and all positions. If you or someone you know are looking for a new opportunity, apply online at genesisnortheastjacksonville.com. Equal opportunity employer.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com. CounterpartsCompass.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Loggerman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
If the Florida heat is getting you down and you're sweating up a storm, fire up a phone call to Florida Home AC and order an AC tune-up. It's the best way to beat the heat and keep your AC unit working at peak performance. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for their tune-up special and make sure you're primed for the peak of that heat. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just a phone call away at 777-4300. Order that tune-up today.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Your musculoskeletal system carries the body, meaning that it maintains the structure against gravity. If you want your joints to stay healthy and seek the simplest solution, the best answer is to lose weight. Don't forget, the more weight you put onto your joints, the more pressure and stress there is on your hips and knees. This translates to more pain if you're already having issues. Losing weight is the quickest way to alleviate joint pain and boost your joint health. Go Jags.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the First Coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
Jags fans, the Jaguars are back at the Miller Electric Center for training camp.
Presented by Dreamfinder.
You won't want to miss out. Stop by to get the first look at Trevor Lawrence and the team as they prepare for the 2024 season. To check out camp dates and secure your tickets, go to Jaguars.com/training camp. Daily availability is limited, so lock in your tickets today.
How good is that?
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So let's begin with the updates from practice. Andrew Wingard, of course, did leave practice, as we noted in the first segment of today's program. That was a knee injury, did not return to practice. Devon Campbell left practice with a quad contusion. Brandon Scherf, which this is going to be one of the best interviews on video I think we have at the 1010XL Jaguar channel, left practice, Lauren and Taylor, with a nose laceration, but did return. Put a little asterisk on that because we're going to come back to it. And then Ventrell Miller left practice with a tight hamstring. So that is the official report from your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Now the sheriff, we're coming back to that.
Oh, well, we're going to come back to it because did you see what happened?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you ladies were there. Okay.
Yeah, I did not see.
So
No,
I was not there as well, but I was informed of this by multiple people. Evidently, something happened with his helmet that it actually lacerated part of his nose. He threw the helmet off and was like, this dumb helmet, and came back to practice just fine. But Ryan the Hacker Green was set to interview him post-practice and was panicked because he's like, oh no, is he hurt?
Yeah.
And then he went, oh no, I'm going to be interviewing him, and he has this giant thing on his nose. He looked just fine. But yes, that video will be coming to the 1010XL YouTube channel, on 1010XL Jaguar YouTube channel very, very soon. And we have another that as well, RJ, a double that to begin here on a beautiful Wednesday. I don't know what day of the week it is.
Tuesday.
It's
I
Tuesday.
thought it was Wednesday.
I don't know what day it is.
Let's hit it, RJ.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Per Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, the Jaguars are signing special teams ace Tanner Muse today. There were several players working out from what we could see at the Miller Electric Center today. And Tanner Muse is the signee by the Jaguars, which, of course, is a spot that was opened up when the team waived Riley Patterson last night.
Do you know what school he went to? Tanner Muse.
Clemson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just another Clemson
Come on
player.
now. I'm in the draft weeds. Come on now. Yes, I do remember him.
Shatley, Trevor.
A lot of Clemson.
And certainly, yeah, now Tanner Muse as well. He was drafted in 2020 in the 3rd round as a linebacker, but like you said, more special teams than anything else. All right, before we get to Joshua Cephus, any other practice things that you want to talk about, Mia, especially the one-on-ones, as I told Taylor, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker look unblockable. And I thought on the offensive line side, Cam Robinson looked really good.
Yeah, I kind of tracked them a little bit as best I could. Look, it was pretty even, and that's not just per me. That's per Leon Searcy, who, of course, you will get 2 to 4 today on XL Primetime. He said he felt like it was a pretty even battle, and I think this sheet kind of reflects it because you would have an example where Mason Smith gets the best of Ezra Cleveland. Ezra Cleveland bounces right back. Yeah. And so that's what you want to see.
That's what I saw several times. It was as soon as you'd see a win, you'd see the reverse a couple seconds later.
Right, especially on the first day of full pads and one-on-ones. Exciting to see a couple different guys if we want to get in the weeds a little bit. I thought Jeremiah Ledbetter looked very, very good. A couple of wins for him on his tally. Tyler Shatley had a couple of skins on the wall, which is always great to see. It was also really great to see Javon Foster, the 4th-round rookie out of Mizzou. Did struggle a little bit later in the period, but had a couple wins early on, which got the whole offensive line room cheering and hooting and hollering, which, of course, is very exciting to see. Stephen Jones is still sidelined, for those of you who are asking. Cooper Hodges was also held out of practice today, so we didn't see those 2 young guys, but great to see the 4th-round pick playing well.
Have you noticed number 90 out there, Mia?
Yes. It's funny you should say that.
Asezi, and I'm going to try the last name, Otomehu.
Yeah,
Asezi Otomehu.
Yes, he was on the practice squad last year, and Frank Franchi came up to me on Saturday, and he said, "Who's 90? He's just out there bulldozing people. Like you can't take your eyes off of him." And so I was like, "Yeah, he was on the practice squad." Outside of that, I never got a chance to talk to him last year. Yeah, but looks good. And again, that's the thing is you can spin this however you want. Of oh no. The Jags offensive line, oh no, Eric Armstead's still on the PUP list. You want to see competition. You want to see depth. That is what you are seeing out there. I want to see guys who I don't know their name. Like, here's my favorite, and I'm going to try to not butcher his name. The former Detroit Lions cornerback. Do you know what his name is, how to pronounce it, Lauren? Because it is Amani Oruware. I think I said Amani's name right. Amani Oruware, 27 is his jersey number here with the Jaguars. And he popped for me big time on both Friday and Saturday. And he was flying everywhere to the ball. Had a couple pass breakups. And so
Oruware.
Some would view him as a camp body, a veteran guy who, hey, you want more veteran voices besides Ronald Darby in that corner room. But if he's popping, that's what you want to see. You want to see that competition and that depth because, quite frankly, when I look at this 90-man roster, depending on how you shake it, when I look at this roster, all I can think is, man, oh, man, what did that 2020 roster look like at this point?
I genuinely was having that conversation with Matt Hayes when we were sitting on the sideline. I was like, it's nice to be sitting here and watch and having conversation of who's having this, like, third team, who's winning this third team battle and not who is going to make this roster that probably shouldn't even make the roster, because that's the conversations we were having in 2020 was there were guys that were making this team that should not be on an NFL team, and it's completely changed.
And again, somebody like Amani Oruware would pop on a Saturday in 2020 or 2019, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, he's making the roster now. We don't live in that world anymore. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
It is nice. And like we said, we did our 53-man roster projections before training camp, and then we will do them again post-training camp and see what has changed. Obviously, I think what you call the guys running with the ones, most of those guys are going to have still been cemented into our depth charts and 53-man projections. But there are a lot of guys that you'll look out and go, oh, he's lined up with the twos. I didn't even have him on my 53. I'm going to have to analyze that once more and edit that. But when we come back, you will hear Mia's interview with Jaguars rookie wide receiver Josh Cephus. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Tuesday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major, year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Mia here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. Folks, it was 1 year ago today I was thanking my lucky stars for my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning. One of those nasty thunderstorms flooded my whole backyard and knocked out my HVAC unit. Thankfully, my friends from Duck Duck Air Conditioning were there within hours. Don't forget, Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a full-service AC company providing full system replacements and repairs to your current systems. It's hot outside. Call Duck Duck AC at 904-862-6769. Duck Duck Rooter, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Integrity, persistence, and standing up for victims. It's what you want in a personal injury case and what my friend and lawyer Glenn Cohen brings to every case for over 40 years. Call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen & Sullivan.
Hello, sports fans. Hicken here. Let's talk skin. I and Beaches Dermatology are reminding you to wear your sunscreen. If you're an active parent hanging at the fields, in your boat to fish, or like to chill at the sandbar, wear sunscreen. But if you're the one that decided for years it's not cool, guess what? Cancer isn't cool either. So when grabbing the clubs for your tea time, gassing up the boat, or grabbing the chairs for your kids' games, make sure you bring the screen. Any concerns now? Give Beaches Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 30th, 1959, future Baseball Hall of Fame first baseman Willie McCovey goes 4 for 4 in his major league debut for the San Francisco Giants.
Brian Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Pick here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
With talk of the offense off to a slow start in training camp, wide receiver Christian Kirk spoke to media on the offense's good and bad days, trying to work out the kinks ahead of the season.
We've had some good days, we've had some bad days, but that's part of training camp. It's all a learning experience, and I feel like as an offense, we have some young players that are still kind of getting their feet wet, but they're doing a good job of playing hard, giving a lot of effort. There's a lot of talent. So I think it's just, finding that happy medium of, making mistakes and learning from them, but also having a sense of urgency of getting better, competing, and taking that next step as an offense.
Courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Is it Cephus season, Mia?
Very much so. Very, very much so. I had multiple people come up to me and be like, "Man, you said that set the bar for best rookie interviews you've ever done?" And I said, yes. And John O'Leary was filming it, and he was like, because there's about 5 different clips of it that I'm like, that needs to go on social. That needs to go on social. This guy is so likable. He walks over. He's got his Gatorade in a can. We're talking about how Gatorade tastes different in a can versus an actual bottle. What a personality, and a guy who firmly has a chip on his shoulder. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars rookie wide receiver and somebody who has been the talk of Jaguar fans the last few days, Joshua Cephus. Josh, great to finally meet you in person.
Yes, ma'am. You as well.
And I know we just went through, you can go by Josh, Joshua, Cephus. Any other nicknames that we need to know about?
Man, people call me C4. It's like C-E-P-H-O, and then C4. I got a lot of them.
I like the C4 nickname.
Yeah.
As I alluded to, you have been the talk of many Jaguar fans since you were signed as an undrafted free agent. But let's get to know you a little bit. Tell us about how you end up picking the college of choice, how you end up choosing Jacksonville.
Yeah, so my first offer was not until my going into my senior year from Rice, and then I ended up changing my position to receiver the last 5 games of my high school career. And then UTSA offered me and went to San Antonio. not too successful my freshman year, and then Coach Traylor came, changed the program around, immediately established a great culture at UTSA, and then we started winning. And now it's a winning program. Hopefully they can continue this year. But really just learning those culture pillars at UTSA, the integrity, the passion, the mental and physical toughness, integrity, and giving perfect effort. So all of those things helped me become who I am today.
And why Jacksonville? Walk us through the pre-draft process. I know you were part of the Shrine Bowl game. You do go undrafted. Why was Jacksonville the pick?
Jacksonville, they showed me the most love. I think they did a great job of letting me know where I stand with them and what I could do if I came in and basically standing on business, did what I came to do. So I'm just trying to make sure I stay locked in, continue to stack good days, and I believe I'll be where I want to.
If you can share, what was that sales pitch? Was it, we believe there's a spot for you on the 53?
They said if I came in and do what I had to do, then basically I'll have a chance. Like nothing's given. So I got to come in and take it, and I believe I'm on my way to doing that.
Rich history of undrafted free agents making the 53 here in Jacksonville. How much did that play into it?
Man, it played a lot. They're a developmental organization, and I feel like that's where I was going to fall to 6th, 7th round undrafted. So I knew that a developmental team would be great for me. So here I am in Jacksonville.
First couple of days of training camp, you obviously were a part of the spring off-season program as well. What has been the biggest challenge for you up to this point?
I would say just learning a routine to continue to take care of my body, because the most important thing in this league is availability, and just being available for your team, being there whenever they need you. And I'm still learning my routine, learning the specific ways that my body specifically needs to be handled in order to perform at the best of my ability. So I think that's been the main thing.
What type of receiver would you identify as?
I would say all around.
Yeah, all right. Not bigger bodied, not stretch the field.
Yeah, I can do that too. That's why I say all around. I feel like I can stretch the field. I know how to run with the ball, so you can throw me a screen and I can turn into 30 or 20 or however much. I feel like I'm a deep ball threat as well. I feel like my ball skills are top tier. I can run routes. I'm a route runner. I feel like I can do all of the above. Whatever coach needs me to do, I can do it and do it well.
One thing I know Jaguar fans have been marveling at is traditionally it's Evan Ingram warming up with the quarterbacks. At what point did they say, hey, Joshua, you come over here too?
Yeah, I saw that. It's not really that big of a deal to me, honestly, because I just saw them over there throwing, and I wanted to get some extra work, so I just went over there with the quarterbacks. I saw a coach catching the ball, and I'm like, I'm a receiver. That's what I do, so why not me go over there and catch the ball for him? So that's all it was.
Love it. Awesome. Trevor Lawrence, probably a guy who you grew up watching him play in college, watching him play in the league. What was it like the first time you met Trevor, and describe your relationship?
Man, it was pretty crazy. I literally just told him the other day, I was like, bro, I said, Trevor, can I shake your hand? And he was like, what? Like, yeah, like, you can shake my... So I shook his hand, and I was like, I used to watch you, like, on Elite 11. Like, that's crazy. And he was just like, yeah, like, that was years ago. But, man, Trevor's a great guy, you know what I'm saying? Very, very down to earth. A lot of people would think that these big names in the NFL would probably have egos or pride, or they're prideful, but he's very down to earth, a good guy. Our relationship on the field is pretty well. If I don't know something, I'll ask, he'll tell me, and I'll execute it. He'll come tell me what I need to do better if there's something I could do better in detail, or just stuff like that. We have a great relationship.
Describe that wide receiver room. I know we caught up with Christian a little bit yesterday. He did tell us that there are fines being handed out. Yeah, okay. So you're being fined as well?
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's really all of the rookies. Like, the vets aren't necessarily, getting the fines, but I've been fined for not wearing slides in the shower. What else have I been fined for? Oh, we get fined for wrong answers, which is pretty reasonable. Wrong answers in the classroom, you're supposed to know what you're doing.
How much money are we talking?
It's nothing crazy. I probably owe them like $120 right now. But to be honest, at the end, it's all worth it, because last year they did, with the fine money, they did I want to say a toy drive like for Christmas. So it goes to a good cause. So I don't have any problems just giving that money up.
Love it. Awesome. You and Brian come in together. I know kind of breaking him out of his shell has been a goal of Christian and the Vets. What is your relationship like?
Man, BT is so quiet. Like, he's so cool, but he's somebody you definitely kind of got to poke at a little bit to see, oh my gosh, to see his personality. But once he opens up, he's very goofy. He's funny, you know. Very cool guy, very down to earth. But he's just quiet. You got to poke at him a little bit.
Last question for me, Joshua. When you look at last year's college football receivers, the catch rate, you were right up there. You were right up there with Brian. What are you most excited to bring to the table here in Jacksonville in the National Football League?
I would definitely say catching the ball and running with the ball. I feel like those are probably my top two assets in my game. I can get up and, of course, but what I'm looking forward to the most is really just contributing to the team in any way, shape, or form that I can. Wherever they need me at and whatever they want me to do, I'll do it and do it happily.
Chip on your shoulder?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I should have been drafted from any one of the teams, but I'm just grateful to be where I am today.
We're excited to have you here, Joshua.
Yes, ma'am.
C4, Cephus, whatever you want to call him. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And thank you, our Heeligans on the MyBookie Digital Studio. You guys are popping off right now because I know you've been waiting on it. Cephus season, it is here. And, you know, I said to him off air, and I don't know if you caught this, Lauren, and I mentioned it to a couple other people too. There was one team period over the weekend in which, look, Trevor's speaking with every wide receiver, every tight end after a play, kind of going over it. But I did not hear him yell and cheer louder for anyone than when he said, "Let's go Cephus," twice during one team period. So he's clearly a guy that everyone's rooting for. And not that they're not rooting for everybody, but this guy in particular brings a certain skill set. And we have our answer to not only the fines, what else they're getting fined for, but number two, how he came to be warming up with the quarterbacks. And you got to love that. That just said, I saw them warming up. I didn't have anything else going on. And I said, hey, that's what I do. I want to get more reps. And that's the type of mentality that Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson have strived to bring into this building.
Yeah, and I think it's important for those guys who are trying to make the roster. And that popped out to me at camp too, because I think that we've talked a good amount about Cephus on this show, probably on this station in general. But a name that I feel like I hadn't heard a ton until I was out there today was Austin Trammell. And I saw him all over the field. That was another name I saw multiple people being like, man, he's kind of looked good this whole camp, you know, and it's somebody that I just feel like we haven't mentioned a ton. But then I started noticing a little bit of frustration from from Elijah Cooks at one point, where it felt like he was just wanting the ball so bad. So when we were talking about the depth and where we're at this point now, because obviously with Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., we're expecting Duvernay and Parker Washington. And then from there's some question marks about what the wide receiver room looks like and who they keep. And those guys are all in a full competition right now because there's not many spots that to be had like previous years.
And the question will be, because look, he's great personality, great interview. You need to see it on the field first and foremost. But the question will be, last season, the Jaguars front office didn't want to subject Elijah Cooks to waivers, even if they knew, to Joshua Cephus's point, they wanted to develop him. He wasn't going to be a plug and play, we're starting him week one guy. They did not want to risk subjecting him to waivers to clear to the practice squad. Once they start playing preseason games, we'll have a much better idea, because that is where Elijah Cooks popped off. But last year, that was, I think, a big reason why that they said, you know what, we don't want to risk that. We want to keep Elijah in-house, so that's why we're going to find a way to get him onto the 53. They were still nervous, though, about guys like Seth Williams, who's still here, and he popped off today as well. Would they be claimed? And none of them were claimed. And so that is where I think it's going to be very fascinating to see how Trent Baalke and the front office approach cut day later this month. Or next month. Man, don't wish July away.
We're
folks.
almost done.
It also kind of shows like the mindset here sometimes compared to league-wise. Like there's certain guys here that you're like, don't let it happen because they'll be gone. And the league's like, no, don't worry. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I will say it's fascinating. Me and you talked to Joshua about this, but the confidence that Cephus has, and then the very humble nature of Brian Thomas Jr., the very quiet nature. They are completely stark differences. Stark contrast there. And it's interesting to me because one's drafted 23rd overall, could have been even higher if the Jags had stayed at 17 in the first round, and the other goes undrafted, yet it's the reverse as far as that confidence.
Right. And I don't even know if it's not confidence. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is confident. I think it's just a quiet confidence because I think by nature he's just a quiet kid. And look, I know we're so used to LSU wide receivers coming out and being chatterboxes. Yeah. Thank you to Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, the list goes on. Jamar Chase, like we could go all day here. And he just happens to be that one guy that's not his persona. Yeah. It's not that he's not getting work done. It's not that he is not seeking coaching, and it's not that he's not performing well on the field. But it is interesting because I do think you need quiet guys in your room as much as you also need
the fiery guys.
And I think the fact that you have, at least from what we've seen so far, those two rookies, and not to take anything away from the Trammels of the world and Brevin Easton and Joseph Skates, right? Joseph is first name. Yeah. Like a couple of those young Mims, undrafted free agent rookies. And of course, Denzel Mims, the former first round pick. They've popped off at times. They've had great catches at times over the first 6 days of practice. But it is funny that we have these two parallels and they seem to get along great. And one is so, outspoken, had no problem going over to the coaches and Trevor and saying, "Can I join you?" Yeah. And not to say that BTJ would do that, but I don't think that's in his personality. Whereas Joshua Cephus is like, "All right, I'm not doing anything else. I want to go get more reps."
Yeah, and I think in part it also might be Joshua Cephus, which we've talked about this on here before. When I was kind of doing a lot of the draft prep, he was somebody that a lot of people said if it wasn't for the off the field stuff, he could have gone in the 4th or 5th round. So he also might be using that as a little bit extra because I blew my chance to get drafted almost by making, kind of a little bit of a childish mistake. And so now I have to compensate for some of this and work a little harder. But I do think that his personality meshed with feeling like he really has to prove to everybody that he is appreciative of still being on a football team right now. I think is part of it too.
I will say Brian Thomas Jr. today looked great. Today was the day where it was, yes, Trevor looks great and also the receivers look great, but especially Brian Thomas Jr. We've been seeking that from him and he delivered, I thought, really well today.
Yes, I agree. And I think part of where you will see more success for him during the training camp, I anticipate that will be when they do start launching the ball downfield a little bit more, which, as Christian Kirk noted, they're building towards that. Yeah. There are certain areas of the offensive game plan that they want to work on, whether that is red zone, whether that's those compressed short to medium routes. And that's okay because as much as, yes, we all would love to be wowed, we all want to see the highlight videos, they're there to do a job. Yeah. And they're there to get better at the areas of their game that they struggled in last year.
But it's funny, Taylor, when we were watching practice, the first red zone pass goes from Trevor to Evan Ingram and Ingram drops it. And of course, the fans lose their mind, right? Because they've been following on with the narrative that the offense sucks. Well, that was pretty much the only one, incompletion in the red zone. And then Evan had a really nice catch later. And it's like, that's where we've been just telling people, just relax and let it play out. Because if you had walked away from training camp today after only seeing that incompleted pass, you would have thought that the narrative still exists. But after today, and all, of course, the fans that were there, that got to see it along with the media, realizes, and the coaches knew this all along, this offense is going to get there. Just don't pay so much attention to the fact that it's broken. Pay more attention to the fact that it's getting installed and that the defense is flying around, and that is a good thing.
And that's what, to me, as much as you want, because you want to see the Trevor passes that are getting caught by Brian Thomas Jr. and by Evan Ingram, but you also want to see the defense doing their job too. And that's the wild thing about camp is you want, and I mentioned this that first day, you want both sides to win on certain days. You want and to me, it honestly felt very even. I know the offense played really well, but it wasn't to me like the defense looked terrible today either. There were several plays where I'm like, if they were playing full on speed, actually could tackle, there would have been some sacks on there. There would have been a couple plays where a couple of those receivers would have got rocked because they were sitting in the air a little longer than maybe they would have in a real game. Those type of things, once you're in a game, that's what changes. But right now, that's what you have to focus on, is there are certain things that they want to really emphasize right now in camp. So it's not going to tell you the full story.
Our Heels highlights are next. We're going to talk some Olympics as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino, canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino, though, is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your home. The live casino is so easy to use, folks. Just go to mybookie.ag and click Live Casino, third from the top on the left. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin, just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And yes, you do not even have to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL and a revamped loyalty program ensuring a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code, 1010XL.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need any special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
1010XL Weekly is out now. Mia here, and text the word weekly to subscribe to our new 1010XL newsletter and for a chance to win Jaguars and concert tickets. Get an inside look at local sports, trending players, station info, and chances to win prizes all year long.
Daytona always brings the drama.
Everything's on the line. The risk will be higher.
3 wide.
Look how insane this is.
Gunning to keep playoff hopes alive. It's now or never.
It's the most stressful night of racing that you'll ever go through.
For an unforgettable weekend of family fun, high wattage star power, and a front row seat full of fireworks. NASCAR weekend at Daytona International Speedway, August 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What's up? I'm Miles.
Hey, and I'm Jara.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich is how the flavors come together. First, I taste the smoky grilled chicken, then the pepper bacon with that maple bun, added with the sweet heat and the pickles.
I'm really sold on the pickle. It meets you in the middle with the sweetness and the heat.
It's spice-tastic.
Yum-licious.
Flavoristic.
The sandwich of the summer. The Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich.
Order the Maple Pepper Bacon Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open-air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and it is hot out there. You know that, Greg. But Honda has a plan for you on or off the road.
They do. There are a ton of Honda scooters, Honda mini motos, great for the beach. Also get you out in the woods with a Honda side-by-side. Plenty to do and stay cool.
Yeah, four-wheelers, and you can trick them out.
We can. From stereo systems to big builds, we do it all.
Everything's there for you to see. CyclesOfJacksonville.com online or on Atlantic near Regency. Check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Ahead of the Florida Gators starting their fall camp tomorrow, head coach Billy Napier met with the media and discussed how he believes experience is on their side.
I do think we're in year 3 of our system and doing those things here at the University of Florida in this league against this competition. So I think, we continue to adapt and evolve. But I do think from a football perspective, we just have more experience. We have 17 starters coming back. We're 4th in the league in returning production. We've got 41,000 snaps of experience coming back.
Tracking our local Olympians, Bulls graduate Ryan Murphy won bronze in the 100-meter backstroke yesterday, securing his 7th medal of his career. It's 89 degrees at 12:57. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. The women's gymnastics team final is going on as we speak. The United States is in the lead currently after rotation number 1. The United States started on vault, and now they are on the uneven bars. Our TV in here says playback error, so I'm going to have to
refresh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to refresh with that so we can get back on, but I'll continue to give you updates as far as that is concerned.
By the way,
I'm glad Biles is good because there was a little bit of a scare with an injury.
The ankle.
Yeah.
And of course, always after the twisties back in 2021.
Yeah.
Our friend Logan Bowles had said to me, he was like, wow, what perfect timing that the gymnastics will be on during Helmets and Heels. How poetic.
It is absolutely perfect. We'll continue to keep you updated. But right now, RJ, hit it with our highlights.
Now, Heels Highlights. Unbelievable! On 1010XL.
Caleb Dressel brings it home in the men's 4x100 free relay.
Great position here. Italy running in the second position. Team Australia a ways back of Dressel. They're not catching Caleb Dressel. They are not catching Caleb Dressel. Pretty amazing when you look back. And after night 1 here, Caleb Dressel is going to have 8 Olympic medals, and all of them are going to be gold. The Americans get it done again.
Mia has never been into men's gymnastics, but Frederick Richard is a walking highlight.
People ask me what did I feel like right before high bar in the Olympics. Grab the bar. Here's another one. Oh, stuck this night 1. Let's see what we got. Start the competition.
Pete Crow Armstrong shares his feelings on the Christopher Morel trade.
A good example of Christopher Morel is him coming back through the dugout and getting everybody a hug, and I got to have a little moment with him and just pay homage to him with the little jump high five and everything after that. So I'm gonna miss him a lot, but he's gonna take his smile to Tampa, and it's gonna be good for him. So.
I'm his friend. frustrated as Christian Kirk was that this television will not show me the women's gymnastics final.
That's weird.
It just keeps saying playback error.
Sorry, I'm working on 6 different things right now,
television.
Lauren. And I know I said that yesterday, and I promised I'd help you with the YouTube TV, but I got you today. I promise. We do need to watch Simone.
Now.
Here,
Simone.
help.
Come
I got
on.
you.
All right, let's
stand
get
by.
it.
Well, okay, so part of the issue right now is that you are trying to go through Peacock, which I'm not going to fault you for, but we're just going to go to YouTube TV and go to NBC and solve everything.
That will work as long as I get it on. I will take it, whether it's YouTube TV, Peacock, Paramount,
whatever,
Netflix,
streaming,
Apple TV. I don't care what it's on. Just thank you for fixing it for me. As long as we get it on, that'll be good. All right. I want to start actually, Mia, with your highlight. I almost tweeted about him last night, but realizing that while watching it, it's like 7 hours after Frederick Richard competed for the men's gymnastics
I honestly
team.
kind of like it though, because it's I don't want to say it's like a highlight. Oh wow. Oh no.
Now there's a playback error throughout.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's the first I've seen of that on YouTube TV. Anywho, yes. That's not great radio. Yes. I turned on the television last night for prime time at the Olympic Games. Prime time in Paris, as they call it. And I intentionally put my phone away because I hadn't looked up who had won or anything like that. From Ryan Murphy to the United States men's gymnastics team. I was like, you know what? It's all good. Like, I want to be surprised by it. And I did enjoy it because it's like you see the celebration dissolve right to the medals. And so we miss out on, yes, the organic. We don't know what's going to happen. And this is all happening live. But it's kind of like the highlights, but it feels real. So credit to NBC because I really enjoyed that part of their coverage. But I turned on the television, Lauren and Taylor, and I saw men's gymnastics. And I was like, meh, I want Simone. I'm like, I don't know. And I was captivated, especially by the amazing expose and profile that NBC did on Frederick, the sophomore at the University of Michigan, discussing being a man of color in a predominantly white town growing up in Massachusetts, which, by the way, 2 of the 5 men's gymnasts from the United States, both from Massachusetts. I thought that was interesting. And so just hearing his story, he goes to the University of Michigan. He is a TV and film major at the University of Michigan.
I know you love that part, too.
Loved it. Also was amazing on camera. Like, they had to have known that as they're doing this profile that he would be like, you know what, let me just take the camera and I'm going to tell you my story. And like, it was awesome. Like how they scripted it was beautiful as someone who loves storytelling. And clearly so does Frederick. And then, you know, he showcases his world, his goals of bringing the game of gymnastics to not only more people of color, but also to men, because not a lot of boys are out here doing gymnastics, growing up at least at this high level. And so it was fascinating, and I was immediately rooting from him from seeing that behind the scenes, how he came to be. And then to see him perform, because I had heard that, we have this 20-year-old, protege, if you may, on the men's team, and the United States had not medaled in 16 years. And to see what he did, his parents are going nuts.
His dad was like shadow boxing.
Yes.
He was so excited.
I've enjoyed that they put the heart rate monitor on the parents.
Yeah.
Which shout out to Mrs. Murphy if you're listening somewhere in Ponte Vedra, or actually she's in Paris. Who am I kidding?
Right.
But if the rest of the Murphys are listening in Ponte Vedra Beach, dude, she's as cool as a cucumber. They're like, can you believe it, Ryan? Her heart rate was at 163, and he's like, thinking like that comparatively to the gymnast parents where they're at like 189, and that's like me on the step master. And shout out to Mrs. Murphy. But yes, it was a great story. I have never found myself captivated by men's gymnastics, but I was last night.
It's interesting you say that because, as y'all know, I'm a huge gymnastics fan. I watch a lot of collegiate gymnastics, but also, of course, when it comes to the Olympics as well. And I've never been a men's gymnastics fan. And it was on last night, and I was like, all right, I'll watch this because go Team USA. And I had seen a piece about Frederick Richard before, and he said he brought his own mattress to Paris. And he's been sleeping fantastic because others were complaining about
their mattresses.
Yeah. So he planned ahead.
That's honestly pretty smart, though.
Very smart.
Because you have like your mattress, your pillow, like you love your things.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other piece, I don't know if you saw it on Brody Malone, the other gymnast, and I was bawling with that one because his mother passed away in 2012, and his dad couldn't get through the interview without sobbing, and just all the things that they've gone through having 3 boys and losing their mom 12 years ago. He's a Stanford gymnast. But yeah, I am like you. I was like, okay, I'm suddenly now into this. And Richard, with what he can do, literally he gives you something that you've never seen before, like 5 times in his routines. That's what's insane.
He's doing moves akin to Simone Biles, which we are trying to turn this on. If anybody could send us updates, 641-1010. Tell us what Simone is doing. We need to know.
It's interesting that both of you mentioned, because my Twitter last night was the other kid, like the Steven Nadorosik, or however you say his name, that did the like pommel horse, and everyone was freaking out because he called himself a nerd. He was like, I'm just like a nerdy guy that can do this one thing. So it shows him, and he's sitting there almost like half sleeping while everyone else is going. And then they're like, it's your turn. And he like hops up, wins a medal. Like, no problem.
That
And
was
so
awesome.
my whole Twitter was about him.
Jordan Childs, 14.366 on the uneven bars, followed by Simone Biles, 14.4. If you're not sure about the scoring for Olympic gymnastics, on the uneven bars, anything over a 14 is a good score. 14.8 is kind of the absolute best you're going to get. It's not the same scale as collegiate gymnastics that go up to a 10. And so, like I said, USA is leading after the first rotation, which is vault. Now they're on the uneven bars, and assuming that Suni Lee performs well, which I expect her to, the Auburn gymnast, then I expect USA to be leading after the second rotation as well. Again, this is the women's team final in Paris. All right, my highlight, Caleb Dressel. Of course, he's from around here, and he brought home gold. He was the anchor in the 4x100 relay, the freestyle relay, and I love Rowdy Gaines more than most things during watching sports. Rowdy Gaines, when he's excited about something, you heard him in that highlight.
You can hear it, yeah.
Yeah, he goes, they're not going to catch Caleb. They're not going to catch. Like, that just gives me goosebumps every time I watch swimming with Rowdy Gaines on the coverage. And so, yeah, shout out to Caleb Dressel. Me already said shout out to Ryan Murphy with the bronze yesterday, and he'll compete for the 200 backstroke tomorrow. He got the bronze for the 100 backstroke yesterday. And then your highlight, Taylor.
Yes.
You're bummed.
Yes,
We're
I'm
both
sad.
excited. You're very sad.
Well, I'm sad. I get the trade. The Cubs obviously trade away Christopher Morel, and that clip was Pete Crow Armstrong talking about it after, because it was in the middle of the game that Morel got traded. So they told him.
That's one of my least favorite things about
terrible.
baseball trade
It's just
deadline.
it's awful. It happened with Chris Bryant when we traded him too, because then they just have to pull them. So it's very obvious, number one, but they have to leave in the middle of the game, and then the whole dugout's in there, and you can tell it's like emotional for everybody. It's the same. But yeah, Pete Crow Armstrong was just talking about, you know, how fantastic of a person Christopher Morel is. And I get the trade. Poor guy, he's batting under 200 right now, but he also leads the Cubs in home runs, second most RBIs and fourth most runs on the team. So in my head, like, he swings a lot. That's his thing, and that's like the biggest criticism on him, because he swings at everything. He's one of those guys that just swings for the moon. But that's also why he has the amount of home runs he does, because when he makes that contact, it's gone. So yeah, he was one of my favorite players. I've talked about him on here before, so I was super bummed when that happened. The trade deadline is today at 6, actually. So 5 more hours-ish until we find out exactly what's going on. There were some rumors that the Cubs also might trade Nico Horner. I will really probably cry if they trade him, so I'm waiting.
Kind of rooting for it to happen on the air now. I just need this moment. I'm just kidding, Taylor. I don't want to see you cry, but at the same time, I know
genuinely
you were
would
very
probably
upset about
cry.
Christopher Morel.
Yes. He's just fantastic. So in that Pete Crow Armstrong, he's like, he's bringing his smile to Tampa, and I was like, but that's just the best way to describe him. I played the clip on here for our highlight one week when the older fan asked for his necklace, and he like took his necklace off his neck, handed it to her, and had this long conversation. And she was like, "I love you so much." She was like, "I love you," and like that's just the type of person Christopher Morel is. So I get Tampa fans. I had friends that are Tampa Bay Rays fans, and they're like, what the heck? Like, we gave away our best hitter for someone who's batting under 200. And I'm like, but you'll love him. Like,
And they didn't give away their best hitter as of late.
Yeah.
Rosarina, as I'm assuming who you're talking about.
The Paredes or whatever.
Oh,
They're
he's
third
not
baseman.
Paredes.
Yeah, Paredes.
Okay,
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
who they traded for him.
Yeah. I understand, but I do think it is a strange philosophy, the way that the Rays do it, for sure. And I heard on the Frangie show, Frank and JJ kind of going back and forth about it. And yeah, if you're a fan of a team, you never want them to trade some of the best players.
Yeah.
I get that. But if you are not heading in the direction that you want, and around 500 baseball this late in the year is not obviously what the Rays are used to, they decided to move in different directions when it comes to Rosarina and Paredes and Eflin, and the list goes on.
It was interesting, and that's what Frank and JJ were talking about, because like the Cubs are like 6 games under 500, and they're still trying to improve their roster, because they're like, hey, you're not that far out of the wild card. There's this long chance, but also build for the future. And that's one thing with him. And so previous years, Cubs have done stupid things because they'll make that trade, but it will be for someone who is a free agent at the end of the year, and so there's no point. This guy is not. That he has his contracts through 2027, so it's also building for the next few years. So it made a ton of sense for the Cubs if you're looking at it in the future, but for right now, it was a little bit odd.
Big picture, Taylor. I know as someone, and not that Lauren's not, but for you, someone who is such a diehard baseball fan and has been your whole life, does it warm your heart to see so much action at the trade deadline? I would liken it to when hot stove season actually, in the last 5 years, when it feels like there's actually deals being made in late December, early January at the winter meetings. I know it warms my heart because as a middle schooler, I lived for those 2 weeks
Big
out
trades.
of the year when all the big trades were going down, and ditto to the end of July when other big trades were going down.
I love it. I love the trade deadline, not when it comes to the Cubs, because recently it's just been everybody I love has been given up, but I think still when you're it's
exciting,
especially it's super exciting if you're a team that is good, because obviously if you're good, most of the time you're probably going to make some splash move that helps, more usually in the pitching realm because you're probably set outside of that, but you get that big bullpen guy. The Cubs did it with Aroldis Chapman. That's what ended up leading them to win the World Series. And so those moments, it's fun when you're, number one, a good team, or if your team's just kind of complacent and they don't do anything and you get to watch everybody else, all these other big crazy moves happen. But it is one of the more exciting times in baseball because it's one of the sports that you do. We have the trade deadline in the NFL, and most years it's kind of like a couple things will happen around the trade deadline in the NFL. Baseball's not like that.
Right.
Baseball, there's all sorts of movement. And we'll see some more in this last 5 hours.
And I think that's the big thing is the NFL off season. Even when they're not on the field, it still dominates the news headlines. I'm not sure you can say the same about baseball. Even when they are on the diamond, I don't think what's going on outside of what's occurring between the lines doesn't dominate national headlines the way that the National Football League does. And I don't think it ever will, at least in the next 10 years. But it is exciting to see the flurry of action because that's what my childhood was. And I'm sure there's some Heeligans out there that feel the same way.
I was laughing in my office out loud yesterday, and I read it to you, Mia, because someone posted a graphic, and it was like the three-way trade between the Cardinals, the White Sox, and the Dodgers. And the graphic they made, though, it had the Cardinals, and here's who they traded, a player's picture. Dodgers, here's who they traded and they received, player picture. And then the White Sox, it literally just had a picture of a baseball. And somebody quote tweeted, and it was like, the White Sox got a baseball in this trade.
Some people are very funny when it comes to making fun of other teams and what they do. All right, when we return, Taylor has a tangent. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games, sponsored by Westin Hotels and Resorts. Find wellness at Westin. Simone Biles and the U.S. gymnasts have the lead right now in the ongoing women's team competition. Earlier in tennis, Coco Gauff was upset by Croatia's Donna Vekic 7-6, 6-2. Gauff was involved in a lengthy argument with the chair umpire in the second set. America's Danielle Collins, Tommy Paul, and Taylor Fritz all won their matches, and the Spanish doubles team of Rafa Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz up a set. Men's volleyball, U.S. taken to a fifth set but prevailed over Germany. Beach volleyball, a win over Morocco for the American duo of Andrew Benish and Miles Partain. Men's water polo, U.S. defeated Romania 14-8 in 3x3 women's basketball. The U.S. defending gold medal winners lost to Germany 17-13. Tremendous men's game going on now with Japan trying to pull off a shocking upset of France. The game is going to overtime. John Stanshauer, Westwood One Sports.
Wellness means something different to each of us. And at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we believe every step is an opportunity to enhance your well-being. Whether it's guided group runs and workout gear on demand, or nourishing food options and restorative rest in our heavenly bed. When you travel, you can find wellness at Westin, one of 30 hotel brands in the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio. Find wellness at Westin.
Hi, I'm April Rose, and we all know about the speed of sound. But have you ever thought about the sounds of speeding? If you drive over the speed limit, there are lots of sounds that you might hear. You could hear the sound of your vehicle crashing, the sound of first responders desperately trying to save you. You could even hear the sound of people crying at a funeral. Because if you drive over the speed limit, you could do damage that's beyond repair. One way or another, speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interest first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details, terms, and fees for qualified applicants. Expires July 31st, 2024.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Tired of dealing with clogged drains? What about bad smells coming from your pipes? You need to call Duck Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Duck Duck Rooter can help with any plumbing issue at your home or business. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O.
If you want high-quality water in your home at a fair price that won't scare you to death, then talk to someone who knows water and is not a pushy salesman. Contact your local water boy, Keith. I install premium equipment and can repair or even rebuild your existing system. In a business known for aggressive sales tactics, let me show you how my approach is different. If you've got any water problems, contact the water boy at waterboyjack.com.
Vegas, baby. This is Taylor Dahl from Helmets and Heels, and we're sending one lucky listener to Circa Resort and Casino this December. Win a free 3-night stay with $200 food and beverage credit, plus a daybed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive 143-foot screen at Circa, you'll huddle up with the Heels at the Overhang Bar for our pregame tailgates on Friday with drink specials and giveaways. For a chance to win this all-in package to Circa with Helmets and Heels, enter at 1010xl.com/Vegas.
And if you've already booked your flight to Vegas for the big game and are still searching for accommodations, Circa Resort and Casino has a special rate just for Jacksonville fans. Mia here, and for just $500, get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 in food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available till August 30th, so act now. Book and join the Heels in Vegas. Visit CircaLasVegas.com today.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Every team has an enforcer.
Whether you like it or not, I'm a hard hitter and I'm a straight shooter.
Tommy Mack is ours.
I say it like I see it.
Fridays on Jaguars Today, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
For the greenest, lushest lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dalmio, Brian R.J. Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Good news, the United States, after rotation number 2 in the uneven bars, still is in first place. Suni Lee had the highest score on uneven bars for the United States with a 14.566. She's so good.
Yes, and I mentioned it to you, Lauren, just now in the break. I completely forgot that the 2020, 2021 all-around Olympic gold medalist had to medically retire for a brief period during her college career at Auburn. And while certainly it's so fascinating to see an Olympic roster that features a soon-to-be 28-year-old Simone Biles, Suni Lee, who is about to matriculate, if she hasn't already officially, from Auburn, where we've become so used to, well, it's girls that are in high school, they're going to start college a little bit later. But the fact that there are stories here, and it's quite frankly a dream team, if you include Jade Carey as well, of individuals who have won Olympic or world gold, have had various things either happen to them during their college career or are quite frankly defying the odds if you're Simone Biles and you're 27 years old and still the best gymnast in the world.
Yeah, similar to Ryan Murphy, and not that he's had to necessarily go through the illnesses and or injuries, but the fact that he's 29, it's his third Olympics. Yep. He's also defying the odds, and I loved the moment. We didn't bring it up yet today, but yesterday, the best gender reveal of all time.
Oh my God! Round of applause, RJ. It was epic. It was epic.
He finishes, and he could have gotten silver. He was so close to getting silver. He also could have missed the pedestal entirely because he almost came in fourth. Also, it was just that fast because, again, in the 100-meter backstroke, they're all touching about the same time. But either way, he finishes, he touches the wall, and you look up, and his wife has a sign, it's a girl.
Oh,
so she let him know in
cute.
that moment that, yeah, their first baby will be a little girl, so I thought that was adorable. All right, Taylor teased it earlier. Here is her tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
All right, so a conversation we were having earlier about some of the focuses that we are seeing in camp, and maybe some people are getting a little impatient about not seeing those deep passes and it just being this full-on vertical product right away. I went back and I was looking at something that I got from Sumer Sports. We've talked about Sumer Sports several times on here. All analytics, but they break down everything. And so I actually had Eric Eager sent this to me before the playoffs started because they thought the Jaguars were going to make the playoffs. So they did a kind of a booklet of all of the teams heading into the playoffs. And since the Jags ended up just missing it, he was like, we still have all of the information. If you want, I'm going to send it over. So I was looking back at that because I was curious as to where the strengths were offensively on the field. And it breaks down everything. It breaks off, outside the hash marks, left and right, and then inside the hash marks. And each of the ranges between the 5 yards. So it starts at -5, goes to 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 plus. So a few of the things that made, as I was sitting at camp today and we were watching, more of the short intermediate yardage happening and how we've talked about how important that is, I wanted to go back and see really where the biggest issues were last season and where the biggest strengths were last season when it came to where Trevor was throwing on the field. The biggest problem last year when it came to where Trevor Lawrence was throwing it on the field, and this is outside of the hash marks, both the left and right side and the middle. He was 33rd, 34th, and 33rd quarterback in this range, and between the 15 and 20-yard range when it came to the entirety of the field, and that was by far his biggest problem when it came to some of the throws and his placement last season. Now, then when we go to the biggest strengths, when you looked at his strengths, the deep balls, the 20 to 25 yard and the 25 plus, he was all in green for these. He was the 10th best on the left side of the field when it came to both the 20 and the 25 plus, and then he was 16th and 17th on the right side, on the outside of the hash marks on the right side when it came to that 20 to 25 plus, and then in the middle of the field also he was 20th. So that was the one part of the field where he was green all the way across, was the 20 to 25 yard range. One of the things that really popped out to me was because it also breaks down it breaks down their EPA per pass, the rank of where they set in the NFL, and the frequency. The highest frequency to throws that Trevor Lawrence had last season was to the right side of the hash marks between the 10 and 15 yard mark, and the middle of the field between the 5 and 10 yard mark. And he was in the green for both of those. But when you look at the short yardage, which is what we've seen a ton in camp so far, and I know people are upset, but he was 36th on the right side of the hash marks between 0 and 5 yards, and 27th and 29th between -5 and 5 yards on the left side. Really, really bad in the middle of the field between 0 and 5 yards. So those short yardage downs that the Jags just did not do very successful things when it came to that side of the field. Everything else on Trevor Lawrence's chart, like I said, outside of that 15 to 20 range and that super short the -5 to 5 yards, green everywhere else. So there's a reason we are seeing this focus on that short yard range, and then also that more intermediate when it comes to the 15 yards ish
and that middle of the field.
Yeah, in the middle.
I think that's something that I've also, as much as we've heard fans clamoring of, we want to see the deep shots. We've also heard fans clamoring for, why did we not see last year more up the seam from Evan Ingram? Why did we not see more middle of the field after Christian Kirk went down? Why is there not another wide receiver who can rotate in and can be successful in that portion of the football field?
Yeah, because when you look at even the frequency that he threw there, beyond 5 yards, so from the 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25 in the midfield, 2.4%, 1.2%, 1%, 1%. So a total of 5.2%. He only went in the middle of the field last year when it came to beyond 5 yards.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation as to why that is something that they're emphasizing at practice. And that is something that the best quarterbacks in the league can go anywhere with the football.
Mm-hmm.
And we know there's a reason that Travis Kelce is so well targeted, or so often targeted, I should say, for the Chiefs, because he's there in the middle of the field, and whether it's a check down for Mahomes or whether he's stretching the field but through the middle of the field, that's a dependable target. And Patrick Mahomes knows when he throws the ball to Travis Kelce, he's going to catch it. The reason that quarterbacks a lot of times avoid the middle of the field is that's the danger zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where there's extra defenders. So they're afraid, too, if the ball gets tipped, that's going to be an interception. One more note about United States gymnastics. Jordan Childs, she did a flipping mount onto the balance beam and fell off to start things. This is not her. This is a different
I was like,
gymnast,
she looked like she landed then.
and Childs did have a great landing, but therefore her final score was just a little over 12.6 on the balance beam. And so again, United States still in first place, but this is certainly something to watch. If you're a huge gymnastics fan, you pretty much are terrified the entire time that your team is on balance beam, because it is a terrifying event, because it's pretty much 4 inches and doom happens.
No way for me.
Yeah. So Suni Lee is up next. We'll keep you updated.
I did want to say too, this some news that dropped. I'm sure if you were listening during Jaguars today, you heard it. But Arden Key now also getting suspended, it seems like, for PEDs. So at this point, Houston loses Autry for PEDs. Tennessee is losing Arden Key for PEDs. And the Colts had lost, obviously, Samson Ebukam to an injury. So all three divisional opponents have lost one of their main pieces to their defense and very early in camp.
So Brian Callahan met with reporters before practice. It's Paul Kaharski, who the very talented writer up in Nashville, who used to work for the Titans and now writes for paulkaharski.com. He was the one that broke this story. And
Arden Key doesn't like Kaharski, remember?
No. They don't really see eye to eye. And he did note in this report that while the team, or rather, here it is, Key is currently on the field. Yes, that's what I thought it was. Key was on the field, as Paul Kaharski, also on the field, reported and dropped this full-length article as part of the Tuesday practice up in Nashville. He did add an update since this report first was published around 10:30 this morning. Quote, after practice, I asked Brian Callahan if the Titans have the resources to deal with the edge position without a suspended Key. In his answer, he said, quote, it's not something that you wanted to hear, but we don't really have a choice. We've got to go play football with who we have, and if we can find someone else, we will. And if we can't, then we've got to play with who we have. That sounds like a coach who knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And now they've just accepted it.
Mm-hmm.
Although Key was on the field.
Yeah, when it was announced.
All right, when we come back, we will tell you our final training camp observations as the show has one more segment to go with. This show has flown by every day during training camp. I feel like so far the shows have just flown by. You're listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
If you want to go big, you got to get low with a low down payment and a low monthly payment during the Big One sales event at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and low payments means big savings during the Big One sales event. You could buy a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Corolla for just $1,000 down and $288 per month. Or you choose a pre-owned 2020 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for just $1,000 down and $388 per month. But this is the big one, so there's even more ways to save. Like more than 100 vehicles under $18K. Is that even possible? It is at Arlington Pre-Owned. Want big selection? Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned has over 400 used cars in stock. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange program. That's 30 days to love your pre-owned purchase, 60 days to love your purchase or exchange it. Don't wait. Shop the Big One sales event at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned today. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at bariorthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at bariorthopedics.com.
Find out more at bariorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com. Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's Florida's only legal sportsbook. Hard Rock Bet is the way to go. Easy sign up, fast deposits and withdrawals, PayPal, Venmo, cards, and more. They take them all. And we're talking hundreds of props, parlays, live play-by-play betting across every sport. And you can bet from anywhere in the state of Florida. If your first bet doesn't win, you get up to $100 back for another shot. Download Hard Rock Bet now or go online at hardrock.bet.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatersparking.com and book your space today.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
1010XL breaks down training camp all day. Listen for camp news with analysis and insight from the practice feed. Everything counts! 1010XL's training camp coverage is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing and Kingfish Pest Control.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality product and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Defensive lineman Devon Hamilton, who suffered from a back injury early last season that kept him out for the majority of the first half of the season, met with 1010XL's Hacker to discuss how he's feeling now.
Yeah, I mean, this journey's been a long journey, don't get me wrong, but it's been something I've learned in this process. You know, it's obviously not the thing I wanted to happen. You know, I really wanted to play last year at full capacity, and but you know, this is what God wants me to do. This is God's path for me, so I'm just gonna take it. But also, I feel 100% now. You know, I feel like I'm in stride, just still working through a little bit of kinks and stuff like that. You know, and that's early in camp, but just feeling great right now.
I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks is making all of the sound effects right now, and so I looked up, and yes, Simone Biles is on the beam as we speak at the Petty Games.
She just did a fantastic wolf turn, but those things are also terrifying. You keep using that word terrifying for the balance beam. It's when they crouch down on one leg and then spin around, and you've seen a lot of gymnasts not able to do that. But Simone, of course, is knocking it out of the park because that's what she does. She almost falls off the beam. I'm going to give you live play-by-play. Suni Ligo, as far as good news is concerned, knocked out a 14.66, so the best so far for the United States. And Simone won't get that high either because, like I said, she just had a wobble. But USA Gymnastics hopefully will take home gold. We shall see. One more rotation to go after the beam. The United States will finish on floor.
One thing my mind doesn't comprehend flips. Like, I truly cannot, like, I've never been somebody who could flip, or I could do like a cartwheel, but that's about it. But even like flipping into the pool, like watching people do that, and then I go and I'm like, I don't even understand how you begin to start to flip backwards.
It is wild to watch people who are really good at it accomplish that type of stuff. All right, so let's wrap up training camp. The first day that the pads were on. Mia, name some guys who stood out for you, and then Taylor, your turn.
Yeah, thank you to Demetrius Harvey for keeping tabs on Trevor Lawrence's actual count. Like I said, I stopped tracking Trevor Lawrence and his completions versus incompletions 2 years ago. There was a brief moment this weekend, ladies, where I went, oh no, please don't make me do this, Trevor. Thankfully, Demetrius doing the heavy lifting for us. 16 of 17 at one point. This was around 10:40, so that was with one team period to go. 16 passes in a row. That first incompletion, if memory serves me, Lauren and Taylor, was that incompletion to Gabe Davis along the sideline. And that was after during the period with Routes on Air in which Evan Ingram had the ball that bounced off of his hand. So 16 completions in a row, 2 touchdowns. And I appreciate Demetrius doing the heavy lifting because I was very much invested in the one-on-ones, standing next to Leon Searcy, who, of course, you'll get right here on the Superstation in 20 minutes. He can give much more insight than I can because he played the position in terms of hand position, what's a win versus what's a tie. That's why I was standing next to him as I'm writing down, okay, this player, this player, this player versus this player and circling who won.
He, by the way, he's like how I am when watching gymnastics and like moving with every single gymnast on the beam. That's how he is watching the one-on-ones. Like he'll literally start using his body and hands as if he was actually having the rep.
And he starts to be like low hands, like hands got to be higher. So again, I'm going to defer to Leon in terms of the actual technique. But I think the biggest takeaway we can have from those one-on-ones was a healthy Devon Hamilton. And that cannot be understated enough because the truth is, if you had a healthy Devon Hamilton last year, does that change the complexity along your defensive front? At the very least, with all the credit in the world to our departed friend Angelo Blackson, with all due credit to Corey Peters, who's now a part of the Jaguars scouting staff, but filled that backup role in 2022, a healthy Devon Hamilton changes the dynamic of that defensive front because he's not just a nose tackle who's there to defend the run. He can create pressure in the pocket, and you saw that today. Again, it's a one-on-one. It's not the team period, so it's mano-a-mano. You consistently saw him pushing the opposing offensive lineman back. And yes, since some hooligans were there and they've texted in and they want us to note it because they saw it on social media, he did toss Mitch Morse to the ground at one point in time.
Yeah, I think for me, something I talked about at the top, and so did you, Mia, was the running backs. The running backs looked so good to me. They looked like, as a whole, both Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, in my opinion, both looked like we talked about the speed with Tank, but to me, just looked like their vision was there, which I feel like has something that's been lacking. It looked like the run game was flowing, and that was something that just did not happen last year. And I get it. This is just, we're not the full speed, but there was still pads on today. So we were seeing things happening in the trenches, and it was really fun to kind of watch them and all over the field. We were seeing runs along the sideline. We were seeing runs up the middle, multiple, I'm putting in quote, touchdowns when it comes to those, because there were a few that possibly they would have got hit before, but they still would have been decent runs. So that was one thing that really popped out to me. And I also think just the offensive line in general, I was watching a ton today, and I think that we've talked about the starting five we believe is going to be the starting five, and that's kind of what we see. And but I did see a couple guys kind of mixed in moments, and to me, it's showing the depth, and it's showing where the issues were last year. And I was having this conversation with Matt Hayes too. The problem was last year was there was just no consistency there because of all of the injuries. So it's really, really important right now because the chances of somebody getting hurt at some point during the season are pretty high. So to have your confidence in these guys in the depth pieces of the offensive line, I think are really, really important. I'm not confident in the center behind Mitch Morse, but aside from that, I liked what I saw a lot, even when the starting five weren't on the field.
We had this conversation with Jordan DeLugo as far as if something happened to Mitch Morse, who would you want to go in after him? My answer is, in a pinch, my answer is Tyler Shatley over Luke Fortner if it's a game situation, critical game situation, I should say.
He won a couple reps today. Luke Fortner did. Luke Fortner did win a couple reps today. So it's...
I guess I mean more because of the experience
Well, Luke Fortner's got 2 years. I know Tyler Shatley has a decade, but Luke Fortner does have 2 years of starting experience. And at the end of the day, he is a third-round draft pick. Yeah. And while certainly Tyler Shatley has been awarded contract after contract, the investment at hand is Luke Fortner. And because they are invested in him, that is why they're saying, you know what, for this year, get stronger so you can prove you are still the long-term investment.
That's my biggest concern. We just can't keep having guys getting pushed back into Trevor in less than 2 seconds. It can't happen. So if that is still happening, then you do not want Luke Fortner to go in if Mitch Morse goes down.
Yeah, guys that stood out to me today, obviously the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, had a bounce-back day. Mia just read off the stats. He also just looked really excited to be out there. I don't know that I've seen the offense with the same enthusiasm and energy that the defense has had to this point. And today, they certainly had that. And look, that's a great thing to see this offense progress from, yes, what they're working on and installing to actually a team that could be a top 10 offense. If that happens, then obviously everyone who criticized Trevor Lawrence's contract extension coming when it did, they will look back and say, okay, yeah, they certainly paid him when they needed to. I think finally Brian Thomas Jr., we got to see what he'll be like in games. And look, some people aren't the best practice players. Some people are just better on game day. And that could be Brian Thomas Jr. or some other guys as well. I think defensively, my eye always goes to the two stud pass rushers, and that would be Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. Watching them work is so much fun. Not just the one-on-ones, but also when you get to the 11-on-11 times, they give it their all every single rep. You never see one of those guys take a break or take some snaps off or anything like that. And Mia, we talked about the injury update earlier. The only person that we saw go down and not come back in today was Dewey Wingard.
Ventrell Miller, did you see him return? Because technically on the official report, he wasn't listed. He had a hamstring. It was a tight hamstring.
Okay.
So,
I thought I saw him return, but I wasn't watching it that closely.
Yes, the official word from the team, Andrew Wingard with the knee injury, which after he did suffer it, Josh Hines-Allen helped him off the field. He did sit on the field for a little bit before being taken inside / did not return. Tavon Campbell, a quad contusion. Ventrell Miller, the aforementioned tight hamstring. And then Brandon Scherf, the nose laceration. Graham Marsh, I know you're busy right now, but I know you got that video. We need to see it on the 1010XL Jaguar channel, which, by the way, we are, round of applause, RJ, 3 subscribers away from 800.
Nice.
The march to 1,000 continues. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and there you will find all of those one-on-ones from Jaguars practice.
And before we get to the cool down, Taylor, you will not see Caleb Williams Thursday night in the opener against the Texans in the Hall of Fame game.
None of the starters, so no Caleb, no Rome. I didn't think we'd see much. There was a little bit of word that they would play literally one snap. So I guess they just decided, never mind,
silly.
what's the point? Because I talked to people who genuinely, the conversation is letting Caleb get one snap, hand off the ball, and leave the game. But then maybe some are like, what is even the point of doing that? So I don't know. I'm not surprised. The Hall of Fame game,
Purely
just
ceremonial.
You're in the NFL. It's the Hall of Fame game.
He's in
whatever.
the box score.
Did you enjoy the Hall of Fame game when we went to it a couple years ago?
I didn't enjoy the 2-hour lightning delay. That was less than ideal. Hopefully they don't have that sort of weather in Canton, but I think because it was my first game as a full-time 10-10er, and so my first time not having to fulfill all the various responsibilities that come with a television report and getting to experiment for the first time. For me, it was fun because that was the first time that, for those of you who follow us on all of our social channels and video channels during a game day, that was the first day in which I was really able to start workshopping, okay, what creates engagement? What do our listeners, our viewers want to see? And so that's why I don't view any day as, not great in that regards. But yeah, it wasn't a lot of great football, Lauren. Let's be real here. But it was great for me because I was workshopping and testing stuff. So I'm like, ooh, this is great.
All right, time to cool down. RJ, hit it.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Okay, so one of our Heeligans is very, very vocal that Cam Little missed 4 field goals? Question mark? I saw one. Yeah, and apparently this guy is very, okay, not all live drills. Some were just warming up. Okay, he's warming up. He may be trying something different, Bubba. I love you out there, Bobby Brown. But guess what, dog? If he's during warm-ups, you can panic all you want. If during the team periods, I don't have the official number in front of me, but he only misses one, that is only the second missed field goal he's had in 6 days. He doesn't turn 21 until later in August. So deep breaths. We love Riley Patterson. We say goodbye, but the future is now. Cam Little is your kicker.
He hit the 58 at the very beginning of
Correct.
practice. And yeah, I only saw one missed, but maybe I missed something.
Deep breaths.
Yeah.
Deep breaths, Bubba. It's going to be okay.
I'll say the offense is back on track, and after the first day of pads, hopefully very limited injuries on that front like we just went over.
Yeah, and I say I'm going to actually go to what my tangent was on, and I think that the patience that we're talking about having during the starting of this camp is valid, because the reason we need to be patient is valid just because of some of those numbers I read of where Trevor's struggles were when it comes to the midfield, when it comes to that 10 to 15, maybe 10 to 20 range. And so that's what we want to see a lot of right now, because obviously anything that you're struggling with, you want to see early in camp, those things start to get fixed because those are the things that need the most work. So that's something I think we're going to continue to see, especially and red zone work obviously is another thing that we're going to continue to see a lot of. But so far, it does look like there's improvements in all of those areas. And the offense, like you said, it looks like they are really starting to click now and they're getting on the same page, which is important. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, Team USA, as far as gymnastics are concerned, one exercise left to go, one rotation that would be on the floor. They are in first place going into this. So hopefully they bring home the gold, and we'll certainly keep you updated about the gymnastics and the Olympics overall throughout the next few days here on the Superstation. By the way, Team Rugby for USA won gold a little bit ago.
Or bronze, I think. The women we're talking about, right?
Yeah, won gold, I thought I saw.
Oh, no, I think it's so much.
Bronze?
I'm pulling it up. JP Acosta. Shout out to you, brother. He just tweeted it.
Just first medal.
Yes, their first ever medal.
Okay,
but
see,
it's a bronze.
I guess I see medal and I think
gold.
Right, exactly. Well, bronze still very good.
Yes.
So shout out to them. All right, that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. But like Mia said, XL Primetime is coming up, so don't go anywhere.